Keir Starmer, when speaking in interviews, at the House of Commons or in any area, always makes a blunder and embarrasses himself. Today is no different, and the Prime Minister again has had a mental collapse in front of the whole of the Commons. 3 months in, and he still doesn't know his job title. Let's watch the clip, react and go over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. This is just embarrassing. After 3 months, Keir Starmer calls Rishi Prime Minister. Subconsciously, Starmer must know that he isn't fit to be Prime Minister. Yet another mental collapse. Have a watch.
By providing multi-year funding settlements. But ultimately, we have to grow our economy, and I'm surprised the Prime Minister didn't welcome the £63 billion of investment that we were able to announce on Monday.
Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
This how the internet reacted. Hammer-on said, "We need him to do a cognitive test." Cough said, "Fkin lol." A weekly occurrence now. Starmer is an absolute end. Ryan said, "He doesn't know he's the PM after 3 months, and it's starting to remind me of Joe Biden and his cognitive abilities as the President of the US. Bob said, "Because he's got a robot mentality. He's just announcing pre-agreed projects from most likely the Tories' time too. Continuity government." C-Mart said, "It's 'cause he spent his whole life dishing out questions, interrogations, cross-examinations. It's where he's most comfortable. Boots on the other foot." Not so much. Lastly, this user said, "It's like having an embarrassing uncle who gets drunk and makes speeches in the pub that are mainly tosh." What are your thoughts on Starmer and his cognitive abilities? Let me know in the comments. In other news, the Archbishop of Canterbury has warned that new legislation on assisted dying could be the beginning of a slippery slope, leading to vulnerable members of the public being pressured to opt for euthanasia. Justin Welby's comments come as MPs prepare to debate and vote on euthanasia for the first time since 2015, when legislation in favour of assisted dying was defeated. This time round, Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has said that MPs can vote freely on the issue, rather than along party lines. The head of the Church of England has offered his guidance in the lead-up, saying, "The right to end your life could all too easily, all too accidentally, turn into a duty to do so. I worry that even the best intentions can lead to unintended consequences, and that the desire to help our neighbour could, unintentionally, open the door to yet more pain and suffering for those we are trying to help," he wrote in the Daily Mail. While acknowledging that many of the arguments around assisted dying come from a place of compassion, the Archbishop feels that changing the law would force everyone to make a choice on whether they should go on living, and that some people may feel pressured to say no. He continued, "I don't want the people I love, or anyone for that matter, to be made to feel a burden in their final months on earth." The bill was introduced by MP for Spen Valley, Kim Leadbeater, MBE, who feels that it would be a boon for those whose suffering cannot be alleviated by care. There are too many people, as they come to the end of their life, continuing to suffer in often unbearable pain and fear of what is to come, denied the choice they deserve, Leadbeater wrote in The Guardian. The last time legislation was brought before Parliament, Keir Starmer voted in favour of the issue, although the legislation was defeated by 330 votes to 118. A group of 24 palliative care doctors have written to Leadbeater in protest, questioning the motives behind such legislation. They have written, "Currently, hospices are funded predominantly by charitable donations. Funding is dwindling and costs rising. Consequently, hospice beds are closing. It hasn't gone unnoticed that assisted dying is financially a cheaper solution than providing holistic care to those who are dying." The Archbishop is concerned that legislation would bring incentives to enact assisted dying into the health system, warning that it risks bringing about for all medical professionals a slow change from a duty to care to a duty to kill. Instead of assisted dying, the Archbishop, who has described how his mother worried about being a burden before she died last year at age 93, advises that the government should spend more money on funding palliative and hospice care. He said, "Dying in pain is not inevitable. Good palliative care can provide us with the dignity and compassion we are all searching for. My mum's last days were eased by advice and medication from a hospice. She died peacefully, heavily sedated and deeply loved. That, to me, is dignity in dying. The Archbishop is also concerned that those in abusive relationships or with disabilities and mental health issues may feel obliged to undergo assisted suicide. He said, "But even where there is no abuse, the pressure to end one's life early could be intense and inescapable if the law were changed." He added, "The Bible tells us that our society is judged by how we care for the vulnerable, the orphan, the widow, the stranger." Assisted dying has been legalized around the world, including in Canada, Switzerland, and some states in the US. Practices like Dignitas in Switzerland use drugs such as pentobarbital, which can cause death within 15 to 30 minutes. In Oregon, where assisted suicide was legalized in 1997, laws have changed to broaden the criteria under which patients can opt for euthanasia. The Archbishop says that half of people who opt for assisted suicide in Oregon cite the fear of being a burden as part of their motivation. The Archbishop finished, "Once the law is changed, I fear there is no going back." Lastly, a pair of masked and hooded thieves were recently filmed boldly stealing from a Tesco store in Reading, Berkshire. In the disturbing footage, the two thieves are shown reaching behind the till grabbing tobacco products. Bottles of alcohol can also be seen being snatched from the shelves and thrown into their bags. The employees on duty can be heard pleading with them to please stop, but their requests go ignored as the masked individuals continue their brazen theft. The thieves, dressed head to toe in black, managed to leave the Tesco store carrying 2 bags full of stolen goods, walking away without any fear of confrontation. Left behind were shocked and terrified employees, bearing witness to an incident they were powerless to stop. Shoplifting, along with other petty crimes like phone snatching, has surged across the country over the past decade. In 2023 alone, over 430,000 cases of shoplifting were recorded in the UK. This figure has ballooned, reaching the highest levels since record-keeping began back in 2023-2003. Thames Valley Police, which covers Reading and Berkshire, has reported a notable increase in shoplifting charges, up by 98% compared to the previous year. From April 1st to October 13th, 1,691 shoplifting charges were recorded across Oxfordshire, Berkshire, Buckinghamshire, and Milton Keynes, up from 852 charges during the same period in 2023. Thames Valley's Police and Crime Commissioner, Matthew Barber, has noted this uptick in charges, showing at least some progress on paper. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.